Welcome to Texas Stadium, a beautiful day outside the open sky, outside this dome, this trademark of great football, but it's lacrosse tonight. The MCLA Championship in Division I, Chapman Panthers at seed number 2 against the number 1 seed, Michigan Wolverines. Hi everyone, I'm Lee Felsmo, joined by my partner John Galvin, who's the coach at University of Colorado. John will talk about the great athletes in a moment. First, let's take a look at the brackets, how these teams got to this point, working themselves through. It was the semifinal matchup of Chapman taking on number 6 Arizona State, and Michigan had to take on a fabled, storied program and the number 4 seed with BYU. They did that. The number 2 and number 1 seed prevailed, and now we talk about the teams. Michigan led by a real ferocious defense. And John, when you have to beat Michigan, you really have to beat one of the toughest defenses in club lacrosse. Yeah,
number 30, Zach Eliashar, is a CCLA Defensive Player of the Year, and is a marquee player on this defense.
He's got great size. He is 6'3", and he's surrounded by great size. His partners are 6'5", 6'2", 6'0". So the defense is big and athletic. They'll be challenged by athletic offensive stars on Chapman's squad, led by number 9, Mike Clayton. He can do it all.
Great offensive player, great defensive player, great on transition, and 5 goals in the semifinals. So Michigan's gonna have to look out.
All right, 5 of his 12 in the semi. He'll need a lot tonight when we come back with that opening face-off in tonight's championship from Texas Stadium. Welcome to Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. Chapman against Michigan is our Division I final for the Men's Collegiate Lacrosse Association. We want to welcome all our viewers to what we expect will be a great game. Lee Felsmo, John Galvin here with you. And John, defense for the Michigan team in the maize yellowish color. There's John Paul, the coach. He has really built this program. Sensational record at Michigan, his 11th year as head coach, and had a dominating performance in the semifinals led by his defense, who just smothered BYU, another fabled program in the MCLA. All business on John Paul's face as he gets set for this contest. And then Michael Wood leading Chapman, really lighthearted, number 2 seed, nothing to lose. This team plays that way, loosey-goosey and offensive all the time. Off the face-off, Michigan coming down with a chance for a quick shot, and they pull back and set up their offense. So very quickly off the face-off, Kohlitz, just a sensational face-off player, and he gets the first face-off of the day.
Yeah, Brecken through the first couple of rounds was 73% on his face-off, so Brecken is going to be a guy that Chapman's going to have to contest with.
Look at the first offensive set in the semifinal. This Michigan team really did a nice job of getting off to an early start. They got the first 3 goals of the game against BYU, and then ended up winning by about 4. So they established their supremacy early and then maintained that margin. A team known for defense really can hurt you offensively. And let's see what they do in this first offensive set. The shadows here at Texas Stadium, not a factor. The sun has moved off to the side, and just a beautiful early evening to play a game here at Texas Stadium. This is our featured player, Clayton. Look how strong and agile he is as he takes off downfield.
He's a good athlete between the lines. Great outlet pass by Kirkpatrick, and Chapman's back on offense.
Connor Martin, number 99, is one of the players to watch on offense. He got the initial pass. Clayton now hanging out on the crease as they move the ball behind the goal. Blake Whitcomb trying to get open inside. No, that's number 23, I believe, Marcus Wooden. And Wooden gives it back to Connor Martin. Look at the great defense of Michigan, applying pressure. It'll be up to Chapman to move the ball quickly and beat that aggressive defense at their own game. And there, that's what they can do to you. You start taking your eye off the ball. You start looking for the slide to come at you. And Chapman had their eye on number 31, James Bayer, as he was getting ready to slide it in and make the hit.
Now Michigan's going to use somewhat of a very aggressive defense on Chapman here, and you have to watch the matchups between Marcus Wooden and James Payer too. So it's something definitely to pay attention to.
Bobby Morales tries to wrap the stick around, keep it in his left hand and get a shot off, it looked like, and really nothing very effective to get on goal. Daniel Kirkpatrick starting in the goal for the Chapman University team. They'll bring it down for their second offensive set. And coming way from behind the goal is Connor Martin. Connor Martin, 6 feet, 165. The sophomore Not heavy, but very quick. Good height, and that is number 9, Mike Clayton, and his first unit. This unit is really lethal. Mike Farinelli, Derek Mills, all tremendous shooters. Farinelli is one of the best shots in the game. Clayton draws the defensive slides all day long. He looks for help far side, and they just put it in the goal. Great move on the back doorstep. Mike Clayton drove deep and saw Marcus Wooden on the far side. Wooden didn't have any angle, just enough to get it past the goalie, and he beats Graham Townsend.
And Michael Clayton just driving hard, right-handed, looks across the crease, and a good handle actually by Marcus Wooden just to barely pick up the ball and have a great quick stick right in the back. You can kind of see Marcus Wooden just following the play down, and then just a great handle inside.
Marcus Wooden was calling for it. Great camera angle on that. You saw him call for it, and Clayton almost missed him, almost put it too high, but actually it was a perfect position for that shot to be finished, and finished quickly by Marcus Wooden.
It was a good, strong, hard pass by Mike Clayton through the sticks and through the heads of the defensemen, and Michigan couldn't get a piece of it.
So Clayton gets the first assist of the game, Wooden with the goal, and with not much possession time on their end of the field, they get the opening lead, 1-0. When you play a tough defensive team like Michigan, the #1 seed, one of the parts of your game plan, John, have to be to get an early lead. You really want to make them come out of their status quo on the defensive end.
Right, you know, Chapman's going to try to push on transition, but they're also a very deadly team on 6-on-6, and Michigan's kind of a smothering defense, as we saw in the other semifinal game versus BYU. But looks like they're going to be doing their driving down the side and making sure they find their open man.
Michigan looking for a good shot. Dave Rogers, 41, tried his luck. Nothing there. Riley Kearns starts behind the goal. Chapman defenders probably saying, we're a little bit sick about hearing about the defense of Michigan. We play defense too here at Chapman. So let's see how they step up and play in this championship game. Michigan, #1 for the whole year in the MCLA after they beat BYU early in the season. They went 15-0 undefeated in league play. Chapman, almost a mere season on their end. The only losses they suffered were out of conference, one to Division III Ithaca.
Chapman playing a very packed in, very solid defense, a lot of help. So, look for Michigan to try to find those lanes. They're gonna have to draw some slides to make sure that they can move that ball around.
Rogers coming inside, trying to get the shot, and he is absolutely wrapped up and almost taken down by the defense of Andrew Salcido. A lot of time off the clock on this possession for Michigan. Taking their time, moving the ball around.
Pretty interesting matchup too. Salcido, number 28 for Chapman, is actually guarding Trevor Yealy. More of an off-ball guy. It seemed like Salcido might be one of the better defenders for Chapman, but I guess Trevor Yealy he's just that dangerous of a player inside.
That's number 16 against number 28. Oh, and a shot there comes off the iron. Big rip from the outside. Beautiful shot by Dave Rogers from Wayne, New Jersey. Played at Wayne Hills. Look at this. Great extension. Not even an ounce of movement from Daniel Kirkpatrick, who starts in the goal. Last night in the semifinal, it was Jason Coe who started. These two goalies for Chapman split time, so you'll see Jason Coe probably in the second half.
A really good on-ball defense by Chapman's defensive middies and their long sticks. Michigan's not really able to create right now. But, good helping defense, good rotations, and Michigan's just having to move the ball around that outside.
Still working to Dave Rogers on the far side. Up top, Svet Tintchev. Dish it down low, the finisher, and there it is, the deadly shooter. When you put it in the stick of Trevor Yealy, you've got a 90% chance that it'll find the net.
Trevor Yealy scoring about 44. He's at about a 45% shooting percentage, especially from in tight. Looks like he just cut back door. There was a little bit of a slide on David Rogers, and sliding off of Trevor Yealy, as we saw. It's definitely it might not be a great thing to do, sliding off of a guy that can finish inside, especially who's shooting about 45–50%.
He was incredible in the semifinal. It was Yealy on his own, getting 4 straight goals, the 4th through 7 goal of the game to open up a 3-goal lead for Michigan that they never relinquished. It won him the Player of the Game award, and he gets the first goal today. So it's tied at 1. Marcus Wooden for Chapman. And of course, Yealy, who we expect to be a factor, getting it for the Michigan Wolverines. Another long possession off that faceoff. Faceoff so critical. When you add faceoff possessions to a tough defense, you've got the markings of a championship team, and that's what Michigan's been living off of this year. Easy feed out front. Michigan starts with Kevin Zorovich. They kick it out to Peter Krauss, and that easily the Grand Rapids Mini puts it in.
You know, Kevin Zorovich again, working from behind, and just looks like we got a little bit lost off ball by the Chapman defense, and Krauss just finds a seam inside and is able to stick it right past Kirkpatrick, who stepped out towards the ball and just found on the opposite stick side.
So 2 goals inside of 1 minute. And they fight for another possession and get it. Chapman getting a little more aggressive on the loose balls. They have to get possessions, and it all starts with this kind of hustle. Clayton on the faceoff gets possession. Clayton getting ragged and applying pressure. The left-handed shot can't find the mark. Good defensive pressure by defensive long stick Bobby Morales.
It also started with Michael Clayton just really hustling for a ground ball, getting that 50-50 ball off the wing, and then creating a shot for himself. And that's really the special part about Michael Clayton. He can create the shot for himself, and also makes people around him better.
Michigan, or the Chapman squad, will start behind the goal. Connor Martin, and then they kick it out, trying to break down the defense. A lot of motion and a good shot from this side from Chris Small, who does it all for his team. Chris Small, one of the kids from Encinitas, California, that Southern California program, really feeding, along with Mike Farinelli and others, the offense of the Chapman Panthers.
All the Costa Canyon High School players.
So we've seen a lot of action on the offensive end, and I think that's what you want to do against a defense that likes to smother. You keep moving the ball. You beat him on those slides. There's a shot from the outside. Clayton can't get it to fall. The defense all over it. But with Clayton continuing to hustle for the loose ball, they kick it out, and the best they can do is give it back to Chapman. Great shot. What perfect location for Chapman, as Mike Farinelli came in and put it it would be off stick high on the hip. Perfect location, John.
Mike Farinelli, just a great shooter from the outside. I mean, right actually through the arm, under the armpit of the lefty goalie Townsend, and just found the seam. And wow, that was just a great shot. Him coming down that righty alley, and Farinelli and Clayton, just guys you're gonna have to watch on those righty and lefty alley dodges. Just very good shooters from the outside, and Michigan's gonna have to get some pressure on those hands.
Game tied at 2. Promises early to be a good one, and here again, face-off dominance by Michigan, but the hustle by the wings of the play. That'll be playing the ball without your stick. It gives the ball to Chapman. They wait for the quick whistle to restart, and they get the ball into their half of the field. Chapman has done a nice job of trying to neutralize the effectiveness of that face-off dominance. Breaking Kohlitz. Kohlitz at 74% gets the ball, but they collapse on him with 2 long sticks and just take it back. Chapman with the 2nd straight possession. Moving quickly up top and going for that off-stick side on the big lefty.
You're really going to have to put it past him. Graham Townsend plays a little bit of the high arc, and he's got a 13% goals against average.
Absolutely, and he is about 71% in the save percentage in the tournament. Low shot makes the big save. Good thinking on a 6'4" goalie, making work low. Michigan now looking to clear the ball. They go coast to coast with that pass. This is a team that can really handle the ball, but Chapman riding hard gets the possession. Good fight to get the ball back. Jordan Kirshner, and then he loses it as the defense from Michigan, who really has owned this end of the field all season long against most of the people they've played.
And Michigan's got to keep pushing upfield and keep finding those open men. Tacky just losing that ball before and creating a second chance for Chapman.
Great loose ball, almost put in, but look at the hustle by Chapman and by Michigan. Shot overhand, and they find rope. Tremendous job getting the loose ball into Peter Vasher's stick. Vasher turns and fires. Michigan gets a 1-goal lead.
That's just a scrap inside. You know, Trevor Yealy's trying to make a ground ball play. Kirkpatrick comes up with a great save, but the ball actually just kind of scoots out to Peter Vasher. Just kind of a very lucky ball that squirts out, and all of a sudden Peter Vasher has an open about 6 or 7 yard shot.
So Vasher puts his team up. A lot of offense early on. 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. And even though we only have 5 goals, which isn't earth-shattering in the record books, there's been great activity on both ends of the field.
Right, good offenses by both teams. And, you know, both these teams have very good offenses, even though I know we talk about Michigan's defense, but they're very talented in the offensive end on their attack. And, you know, especially with both their midfield units are very solid, very good shooters, and also, you know, Chapman. So offensively, we're looking at 2 very good offensive teams. And, you know, actually, you know, the 2 teams that probably deserve it the most being 1 and 2 seeds, and 2 very solid teams right here.
And John, if you think back to the semifinal, this Michigan team spent a lot of time getting the ball on the surface of this playing field against BYU. They just really would contest everything. We didn't have a whole lot of long sets on either end like we've seen so far today. No, I think you have to credit Chapman's ability to get through that aggressive place with their stick work and speed.
Right, you know, both their stick work, Chapman's stick work in between the lines has been great, and you can kind of see that, you know, Michigan's going to pressure on the ride. They might even throw 10-mans at Chapman, but, you know, the Chapman sticks are definitely going to be you know, very key and crucial to the clearing game.
10-man ride right now, which means the goalie is out for Michigan. Everybody's covered. Chapman's going to have to make a big play, and they bring it upfield. They do. You play the outside of the white lines, not the inside like you do in football. We're playing outside the white lines on this Cowboys field. And a great hustling play by Chapman's defender, Nate Barris, And Barris from Lake Oswego just clears it down the side, and they get out of that killer zone where all the sharks linger. The long sticks and the ride really breaks you down between the restraining lines.
Right.
And they escaped.
You know, Michigan's got to try to force you into that long pole and, you know, try to create those turnovers. It seemed like a very long 20-second count, but, you know, Chapman was successful on the ride.
Big time save by Graham Townsend as he stops Connor Martin from coming around the corner and scoring. Townsend a lefty, so that shot, you got to make sure you don't go to that far corner, which is a natural shot for a righty because you're shooting against a left-hander, and that puts it right in his stick. Michigan gets the ball back. They've got the 1-goal lead. A ton of great lacrosse, even though it's only 3-2 because each team has had good offensive sets.
Michigan's first line of midfielders out again. And actually getting Clayton stuck on a little bit of defense along with Blake Wickham. But again, Chapman's got the ability to play that 2-way game and that great transition game that goes up and down the field.
Peter Vasher has Clayton on him. Left-handed shot finds the net. Great shot by Mark Hammitt. You're going to count that one. Again, perfect location on the Hammitt shot, and Michigan gets 2 in a row.
You know, Hammitt with a right-to-left split, you know, finds that top side, really where you don't really want to push someone to that top side because it gives the shooter a lot better of an angle, and Hammitt's able to take a real good look at the net, and Kirkpatrick just tries to pop it out with a glove, but, you know, couldn't get his stick across and finds that low off-stick hip side, exactly where you want to shoot anywhere from the youth game to the college game, even the pros too.
Breaking Kohlitz at the face-off X, number 17 for Michigan.
I think Chapman's going to want to try to make this a 50-50 battle on the face-off and try to limit Brecken Kohlitz's ability to pop the ball out and get those fast breaks.
And that would require them to play him a little bit more instead of the ball initially and bring your wing players in. Is that what you're talking about?
Right. You know, Chapman using maybe 2 poles in the wing, or just, you know, some of their very good athletes like Clayton and another pole, and really the ability to make it a 50-50 chance to get it.
Michigan with another offensive set where they look in total control. Mark Hammitt throws the ball out of bounds, but it was a deflection off the defensive stick of Chapman.
Chapman able to get 2 defensive middies on the counter the Michigan first line here.
Game has had an identical look on either side of the ledger. Hard shot, easy save by Daniel Kirkpatrick. The shot that time by Vasher, and here comes the clearing opportunity for Chapman. Now the speed, the stick handling has been great. Coming in with a chance to shoot, and the defensive checks of Michigan made it too tough. But look at the ride by Chapman on their own end of the field, keeping the ball on the turf. Townsend out of the goal, being ridden by the attack of Chapman. But they get it out. Now they're out of the danger area, and here they go into the middle of the field.
Great hustle by Chapman on that ride, and great hustle by the attack even just to get up to that line.
Peter Krauss helps out, and then he comes off. They get fresh legs in for the offense. Michigan using that hustle again, that formula of intense pressure to just make sure that Chapman does not get comfortable.
And making Chapman a little uncomfortable on transition, and even letting those poles shoot instead of having Clayton and Farinelli come down on transition, and being able to pull those triggers by about 10 yards is probably in the game plan for Coach Paul.
Another possession for Michigan, in a possession time alone. If this was wrestling, they'd be winning on riding time. Great patience. This game has unfolded in a pattern. Chapman scored the first goal, followed by 2 Michigan goals, then 1 goal by Chapman and 2 Michigan goals. So that builds you to a 4-2 game. With 38 seconds left, they give it up into the crease, and an easy shot and score by Riley Kearns. Again, the ride paying dividends for the Michigan Wolverines.
Right, a tough, aggressive ride. The attackmen are really getting on the defenseman on these long poles, and Riley Kearns is just the benefactor of a tough ride. He gets the ball inside and is able to finish it. So a tough ride by Yealy, and Zorovich ends up picking up the ball, and there's Riley Kearns just standing in front and just finishing the ball inside.
Zorovich has been very active, transferring the ball to guys who can put it in the net. And they get the ball back off the faceoff, as Kohlitz has made it just impossible for Chapman to get possessions off the faceoff. And with 22 seconds left, they want to get the personnel in there. John Paul does. Let's see if Chapman responds. John, if you're the coach here, do you respond with a zone? Do you just pack it in and make him take that outside shot? Do you change your defense here?
Well, to change something up for 22 seconds, you might run a zone just to maybe try to keep him on the outside. Don't let him get something on the inside. Give your goalie a shot from about 12 yards or so.
Looks like Chapman is in a zone.
Right, Chapman's in a 3-3 zone.
And Michigan gets it working with Dave Rogers. Rogers working the left side and bounces off his intended target, which you can expect was Trevor Yealy. Yealy was wrapped up really well. And no clean shot off that 22-second timeout, but they do have the 5-2 lead off the strength of the last 3 goals in the first quarter. We'll be back with quarter number 2 in just a moment. Five to 2 the score as we join the second quarter. Lee Felsmo here bringing the great action of this contest with you. John Galvin, the coach of the University of Colorado, joining me as we are in the finals of Division I. Teams that John has gone against at that Rocky Mountain division are out there playing the great Colorado teams. Great feed, outside shot, does not go inside the net, but again, they find Yealy, and you and I have marveled at the teams in the semis and the finals and how, no matter what they do, Yealy continues to get open, number 16.
They keep on leaving him. They whether or not they're sliding off of him, but he's also a great finisher, and he's a great person inside. He's able to find those seams and find the gaps, and most great finishers are. When you look at guys like Zach Greer for Duke and some other great teams, they can find these open spots.
Good look at number 9 on the field for the Michigan Wolverines. And that's Kevin Zorovich. Coming on the field, number 7, Mark Hammitt.
Again, Michigan caused a little bit of a turnover on a ride, and Chapman was able to get the ball back. But this again, here's a full hard pressure ride by the Michigan team. So with a long pull, actually about to jump in the middle. And that's Martuzowicz.
Well, if you saw the game against BYU, the semifinal, it was just impossible for BYU to get any comfortable clears. Ball knocked out of bounds by Michigan on the hustling out of bounds play.
And you can see how Michigan rides. They actually make sure that that middle long pole, Martuzovich or even another long pole, they actually let one of the Chapman long poles go over and then actually jump them over the line with their long pole. So it's a tough matchup, long pole on long pole.
If you're into great defense and riding, it's a beautiful thing that Michigan does, and they do it so well. A lot of the riding has for years had really gone out of the game of lacrosse. They kind of gave you the ride and the clear rather, but this team can test you and really makes it pay for them.
Right, you know, again, John Paul's always kind of said, even when I talk to him, is that, you know, they kind of live and die by their ride, and you know, Kenny Brochard also brings along that that tough riding mentality.
Mike Clayton intercepts that pass, brings it downfield, and just as quickly, Graham Townsend, the goalie, reads it and comes out. So Graham Townsend, the 6'4" goalie, has the mindset of the defense. And on this end of the field, Chapman making the checks they have to keep the ball off their goalie. Great action on both ends of the field. The semifinal of Michigan was mostly between the restraining lines. Remember, John? And the ball was on the field half the game. So far in this game, we're getting it on either end offensively. And it's a lot of drama as both teams work to get shots.
That was maybe a little bit of an ill-advised shot by Morales for Michigan. You know, Zorovich really hustles for that ground ball, picks it up, finally settles it down, and then you know, no backup down the Michigan end.
Chapman bringing it up with Mike Farinelli. Inside, turning a shot. Tremendous block by Graham Townsend, who plays that hard, high angle to really fill up the goal. I tell you, when the 6'4" guy comes out on the high arc, not much to shoot at.
Right, you know, this high arc, he's going to make shooters shoot in different spots. And you know, sometimes those inside pipes where you might not be used to shooting start opening up. So it's an adjustment that some of the shooters for Chapman are going to have to take.
Chapman, a team that averaged 16.3 goals per game. And Michigan, almost 13, 12.8.
Michigan with their second line midfielders out.
No score in the second quarter. It was 3 goals by Michigan to end the first quarter that gave them that 3-goal separation. Game was 2-2, and then Vasher, Hammitt, Kearns each put in a goal. The 3-goal cushion right here. Second quarter is where they really separated themselves from BYU in the semifinal. See if Chapman went to school on that semi.
Chapman looks like they maybe even actually throwing a short stick on Riley Kearns and a short stick on Wes McGowan.
Matchups are critical. Michigan working the ball behind. Riley Kearns is number 6, pushes it out, bounce shot, picked up by Daniel Kirkpatrick. Can't get it clean. This could be problems. Working it, tried to get it over to his attack player, Wes McGowan, on the sideline, and Wes couldn't pull it in cleanly.
It's a tough pass, tough to handle. It's about a 5-yard pass that actually had some heat on it, so maybe a little tougher pass that Wes McGowan couldn't handle.
Here comes Mike Clayton. He's the guy who got things going for Chapman yesterday. They were down 6-0, and it was Clayton who really got his team going offensively. Arizona State had a tremendous game plan that gave them that 6-goal advantage. And with the ball got into the stick, after all that chaos, Coach Michael Wood called a timeout. Good call, I think. Get his team settled down, say, look, let's get a quality offensive set. We haven't had one in a while. So right now with an offensive set, they try to get things squared away again. This defense is so aggressive. They've got to go on. We heard the offensive talk, but on the other side of that, they were talking to the offensive players about this defense.
Looks like Michigan dropped into a little bit of a diamond zone off the timeout. So they're going to maybe let them pressure out on the wings just a bit and maybe a little bit behind with some short sticks. But they're going to really let Chapman maybe shoot from that outside.
Pretty smart. Look how tight that box is, folks, of yellow defensive jerseys. Now, normally they're extending and they're playing tough. Timeout call by Chapman, so a smart tactical move, as John points out. You go to a zone, you keep it tight. See how tight they are in there? And now whatever plan they had to extend that defense sort of doesn't matter for at least the first few minutes after that timeout. And that's what happens when you play tight defense inside. When you work inside like Connor Martin did, you get nailed with the backup slide pretty quickly.
Right, there's really not a lot of room to dodge, and that's what a really tight, good zone should do. You don't have the room to dodge. It's really making you shoot from the outside. And if, you know, Michigan did it right. Connor Martin tried to dodge, and he had help right away.
Michigan has the ball, and they have their finisher carrying it. Trevor Yealy, number 16. The matchup for him is the defenseman John Kay, number 44. A lot of good-sized defenders on both ends of the field here. A lot in the 6-foot-plus category.
Looks like Michigan's doing a little bit more invert offense. Try to create from X and maybe get some cutters from up top, down low to the crease, and also maybe decoy some cutters down, and also maybe take a look up top to find some big shooters like Mark Hammitt and some of the other good shooters from Michigan.
Peter Vasher took that opportunity, couldn't get it to go because Alex Lyon played such great defense on him. But the ball is loose. Many times during the game we will see a failure to advance penalty, and it'll give it to the other team. Why don't you explain failure to advance to us?
Well, the failure to advance is, you know, when you get into the offensive zone, you have 10 seconds to step it into your offensive box. And, you know, what
so in that area right there.
Right.
That was the offensive zone over the 50. Before you go over the next big line, you've got a time limit.
Right, you have that 10-second. And Michigan actually lost the ball. They had possession. The ball rolled out of the box, and they couldn't regain the possession within 10 seconds to step it back in.
So Chapman gets possession back, and they are trying to get their third goal. Cannot cleanly feed over that tough defense. It looked like they stayed in that tight zone. They'll switch up personnel in the out of bounds.
You know, Michigan's going to, you know, if they're in man-to-man and in zone, they're going to be able to really help out. They're a very help-oriented defense, and they're going to take away some of those inside looks. So, you know, Chapman's going to have to value some of these possessions.
Chapman got off to a pretty slow start yesterday in a game that they won 18-13. They scored 13 of those 18, Chapman did, in the second half of a game. Keep that in mind. They were a slow starting team. Conversely, Michigan sort of got their goals in the first half and sort of held on with great defense to win their semifinal. Michigan taking some time off the clock as they work the ball around and try to get the setup they want. They're really giving Yealy some attention inside. 2 players on Yealy, and they kick it out front, and the big shot is exactly what you want. Kirkpatrick easily picks it up. That's what you're inviting them to do, aren't you, Coach?
Right. You know, from that, you know, Mark Hammitt does have the range from probably about a little bit inside 15, but you know, an ill-advised shot possibly from a little bit further out, and you know, not great placement on that either.
Moving pick called on Chapman. That was on Andrew Salcido. And all of a sudden they're having trouble getting into their own offensive end. Something not uncommon for teams to have faced Michigan throughout the year. This undefeated team, ranked #1, seeded #1 in this tournament, looking for the perfect season if they can pull this one off tonight. They lead by 3.
Michigan still has to be smart with their possessions. Riley Kearns, you know, got actually a great lift by his defenseman covering him, and but you know, Michigan still has to value his possessions, as we saw in that semifinal game versus Arizona State. You know, Chapman's a very dangerous team on offense.
Michigan, very patient, confident team. Penalty off the ball. And it could be on the team player that was playing Yealy.
Maybe have an interference call possibly.
So Yealy really drawing a lot of attention defensively, and I think drew an off-ball foul.
Fouls on red. 3-0, interference, 30-second technical.
Now, if you are away from the ball, more than 5 yards away from the ball, correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, you cannot interfere with that player. In other words, you can make contact with players when they're within range of that ball. But if you're outside of that 5-yard area, you cannot impede their progress.
Right, they have to be able to move freely throughout the crease, such the crease area and anywhere else. And that's actually, you know, probably a pretty solid call by the official. Yealy was probably trying to move through and was impeded and stopped his progress moving to a certain area.
Yealy got the first goal of the day, and it seems like they've clamped down a little bit since then. Big shot, but a shot outside, easy grab by Daniel Kirkpatrick. He's made the last few saves easily because the defense for Chapman has kept the shots pretty far out. But look at the ride, even on this end of the field, by Michigan. Good job of getting it inside, and a great pickup by Farinelli. Farinelli's got a good shot, gets through 2 players, comes in. If he can get free, he'll get the shot, but he cannot. Hold call. It was a must defensive check by Bobby Morales. He really had to make that, and luckily he didn't have they gave him a hold, but the ball was loose, they said, so could have been a time serve penalty, but was not. Possession stays with Chapman. Farinelli almost broke through that double team.
Yeah, Morales is actually pretty lucky. That ball actually dropped on the ground. I actually thought it was going to be a flag for about 30 seconds for holding, but the official saw it different than I did.
Clayton gets doubled quickly. Farinelli working inside of him. Right-handed shot coming down the alley. And Chapman cannot get that baby to fall.
Chapman's got great middies that can dodge from up top, and you know, Townsend seemed like he was on that, but Derek Mills looked like he actually tried to maybe pick that near side, which actually is not a bad shooting spot. Neither is that either.
Well, Mike Clayton is the guy that make it happen. We talked about him at the opening of the show. He is sensational. He had the first assist of the game, scoring drought in the last, well, 20-some minutes. And then Clayton answers with a goal for his team. Check it out.
You know, and Mike Clayton, again, you know, a great shot placement, great athleticism, and really can just pull the trigger. And he's just a very solid midi. You know, those are the shots that we see from Division I and Division III type players. I mean, he's got a great handle on the ball.
So Chapman pitches a shutout on Michigan in this quarter so far, and they answer a shutout of their own. They didn't score since the 7-minute mark of the first quarter until now. So that was about 20 minutes. They were really eaten up by the face-off dominance of Michigan in the first quarter. It was 8-0 face-offs won by Michigan. This one will help them out after the face-off. Nothing can start a run like getting a goal and then the ensuing face-off, and you get the ball back in your offensive zone.
Right, especially with the score now too. If Chapman puts another one on the board, it's 5-4, and it's a lot closer game than 5-2. So, you know, this is an important possession, at least creating some good shots, making Townsend work.
A push call, the ball will stay here and go to Chapman. Great hustle by the defense of Michigan. We've seen it against every team they've played. Now, they were tested in the quarterfinal game. 1-goal game against Georgia.
Yeah, Michigan played a 1-goal game to Georgia. Who, you know, their goalie played it extraordinarily well with for Georgia, and you know, they had some great offensive talent, and I think, you know, Michigan maybe a little bit surprised, but you know, a great goalie play, especially in the playoffs, can really help.
The game was tied late, and actually Georgia went ahead, I think, in the 7-6 area before Michigan took over. Farinelli open, right-handed shot, just whizzes by the left-hander. I think he forgot he's facing a left-hander, which you can do sometimes. The right-handed shooter put it on the left-hander side and missed the net, but the backup keeps it on this end of the field. Nice long possession for Chapman, looking to add to Mike Clayton's goal, the only goal scored this quarter. Chris Small working number 16. He gives it off to Derek Mills. Mills is 6'2", 190, great size for a midi. Small's tremendous. Small is a tremendous all-around player, number 16. Can face off, play offense, defense. Coming around the goal, great jump and dive. What a move by Nick Gennuso.
It's a great face dodge. You know, but Derek Mills was able to kind of push the ball down the side. Gennuso saw that the players coming at him. Actually, Townsend takes maybe a ill-advised step almost outside the goal pipe, and Gennuso just wraps the ball around him. Just a good hard-nosed play by Nick Gennuso.
So Gennuso comes up with a goal after Clayton. Nice little run here for Chapman. They bring it back to within 5-4. But Mr. Faceoff dominance, that's Kohlitz, comes back with a faceoff win, and here comes Michigan. Pushing the ball down, shooting wide off that break was Bobby Morales, the short stick defender. And Chapman does a nice job of backing it up. See if they'll get their chance to have one more offensive push. There's 2 minutes left. That didn't take long at all to lose that ball.
Well, that's actually the second shot that Morales took with no backup. Actually, probably not the best shot to take when you really, you know, you've had not really a long possession. So,
well, Chapman put some immediate heat on Graham Townsend, but the high-to-high shot was met by the high goalie, who's 6'4", and the lefty just came up on that high arc and caught that ball about a foot off the stick of the shooter. You got to like the way Chapman took it right to the hoop, though, and they brought the ball down. It took 3 passes over probably about 4 seconds, if that, covering 80 yards for them to get that shot off.
You know, the stick work and the fundamentals for Chapman to get the ball up the field and be able to create that type of scoring opportunity that's great.
And here comes Michigan back with their own score. Big shot by Svet Tintchev. Tintchev gets the goal.
And, you know, he's dodging on Chris Smalls, who actually just came down and played some defense. Actually goes for the over-the-head check. Probably maybe an ill-advised check right there. But Svet Tintchev was able to tuck the stick, show it a little bit, and then come inside. And actually looks like Kirkpatrick got a piece of that and then actually put it into the net.
Well, when you're tired, those over-the-head checks become maybe the first option in your arsenal because of the fatigue factor. Back to a 2-goal lead, 6-4. They finally get their first goal of the second quarter, does Michigan. And here comes Chapman off that faceoff, critical faceoff with 1 minute to go. They'll get a possession. Chapman will call a timeout. They'll talk about it with Michael Wood, their coach, as he tries to take full advantage of this offensive set with 60 seconds to go in this first half. They're only down by 2. This game looks to be one that'll go down to the wire. Well, there's over 200 teams in the MCLA, and each one of the players on those teams want to thank the Dallas Cowboy organization for hosting this tournament. It's the second year it's been in Dallas, first year here with the finals in the stadium, and what a thrill. We saw the semifinals and the walkthroughs, John, and each kid came in here like they were walking through the Smithsonian Museum.
Right.
Got pictures on the star, and they're actually dressing in the Dallas Cowboys locker room, if you can understand how really what an emotional feeling that is for these players. They go in, there's Tony Romo's locker and all the coaches' lockers, and it's just a great experience for these players here in the finals of the MCLA. And we thank the Dallas Cowboy organization and the organizational groups here in Dallas that have the recreational lacrosse roots of Dallas and Texas have done a great job in supporting the effort.
It looks like Michigan dropped back into their zone again, you know, off the timeout. Scott Morrison, the defensive coordinator for the Michigan team, looks like that zone is going to work well and just try to change something up against this Chapman, this really potent Chapman offensive team.
Well, coming out of the pile, Mike Clayton. Clayton trying to get open, over to Farinelli. And Farinelli had his hands extended. He rips a hard, high shot, but it was backed up by Michigan, so there's an opportunity lost. Those high shots against a 6'4" goalie, you know, overall, with time and room, you might want to go a little lower because the guy has trouble bending down more than he does standing up to his 6'4" frame.
Right. You know, those high to low shots probably would work the best on Graham Townsend. You know, make him kind of stand up high and then maybe put those in the low corners. And we've seen both of Clayton's goals, both in those low corners. So, you know, those shots might be the best for to keep those shots up.
Let's see if Morales can get down on this. 4 seconds left. He'll take a shot there. Not enough time. That'll end the first half. Great action. Not a ton of scoring, but right on par with about a 12-8 game, 12-10 game. And these teams are going to fight each other down to the wire. 6-4 is where we end up as you look at Michael Wood, whose team is down by 2. They outscored Michigan 2-1 in this second quarter, but it was that 3-goal run to end the first quarter that gave John Paul a lead that he still has, and he is really doing a great job being patient on offense and dominant as always on defense. So a good chance for us to now take you into our halftime with, at first, our interview with John Paul, the coach of Michigan. John, you got it going pretty well early. Offensively, things were working very controlled. You had that 3-goal run that gave you that cushion. Kind of fell away a little bit in the second quarter, but overall, you got to feel pretty good about your team's effort.
We do. We feel like we're dictating the pace right now, which is really what we wanted to do today. You know, we know they're going to score, and as always, if we can keep this at this pace and you know, score 2 for every one of theirs, we're going to be in good shape.
You've got 6 goals by 6 different players, I believe. So Yealy isn't the only guy that can put it in the net. Looks like you're prepared for whatever they throw at you.
That's really been the story of this team this year, Leaf. You know, we got a lot of guys who can score. We're deep, and you know, most of our games we've had 8, 9, 10 guys scoring. Well,
our congratulations to that first half effort. You've got 2 great teams going at it. Good luck in the second half.
Thanks a lot.
That's John Paul, the coach of Michigan, the #1 team, undefeated, and they are leading 6-4. We'll come back with more halftime from Texas Stadium, the MCLA Championships in Division I. We're back at Texas Stadium, Michigan leading 6-4 in our MCLA Division I Championship. The Wolverines are doing a great job. You probably didn't know, we talked about how revered the Michigan Wolverines lacrosse program is. You probably didn't know that it goes back to the 30s and 40s. They've been around for a long time. Let's take a minute now to go behind the scenes of the Michigan Wolverines lacrosse program.
On game day, Oosterbaan Fieldhouse is no gracious host. Yet for the Wolverines, legacies are born inside the white walls and bright lights.
You come into a place where you spent so much of your college life, and there's things you'll never forget, and every time you walk in, it all flashes through your mind.
Just make sure you're mentally focused. Just know what your job's going to be. Make sure you know all the game plan.
The middies are 35 and 14. 35 is all right. We'll be playing near. We'll play press strike read. We'll play hot rod, and we'll play jump.
I guess you really realize what's coming.
And what's coming is competition. A challenge where discipline and dedication manifest in 60 grueling minutes. 4 periods where men become victors and the pantheon of Wolverine greats grows ever larger.
PMO first time out is Harvard. Remember on the ride, all right? Let's not screw up our subbing today.
Be ready if they're in zone, okay? We're going to be making adjustments to tell you where to attack. Be ready to, you know, make those changes.
You're here to play. That's the moment that you realize that you're going in to play a game.
We talk about, you know, big games, big games, big games. Guys, this is a big game, okay? This is their biggest game.
And it's a great deal of excitement. I mean, you're excited to play, excited to do what you practice for.
They're talking about how bad they want it, how bad they probably want it. We wanted it all the time, but we can work to get there, and that's the difference.
Be ready now. Be ready now. We got 2 home games left. That's it.
They're going to want it really bad. They're going to come out flying, but we worked harder. We worked harder today. They have nothing, and you know that.
On game day, mettle is tested. For the second straight week, Michigan topped the polls. For the challenger, it meant public enemy #1.
Back at Texas Stadium, 6-4, Chapman down by 2. We are fortunate to have Michael Wood, the coach of the #2 seed Chapman Panthers. Coach, that was a pretty exciting first half, I got to tell you. The last 5 minutes of the first quarter kind of got away from you. They got 3 straight goals, really the only difference in that whole first half.
Yeah, well, we got to, do a little better job on the face-off X. Right now, I think they've probably won just about all of them. I think offensively, we got to settle down and work our possessions.
All right, well, good luck to you the second half. It's been exciting so far, and we wish you the best.
Thank you, Coach.
There's Michael Wood from Chapman, and he is definitely getting set for an exciting second half. Now, he talks about the face-offs, and as I talked to John Galvin, our color analyst, Johnny seemed to solve that a little bit in the second quarter, at least more than the first quarter. First quarter was 8-0 shellacking. In the second quarter, he took them through a little scoring drought. They didn't get their last goal to the final minute 18. Michigan didn't score at all except for that goal.
Right, I think also face-off wise, it's that 50-50 ball that they're trying to get, trying to make Breck and Kohlitz maybe pop it out to a wing. But, you know, the possessions are going to be key.
And right off the second half, off the face-off, and a tremendous save by Daniel Kirkpatrick, who stays in the goal. Is that right? So that's a storyline, but the ground ball, the 50-50 ball, goes back to Michigan, and they get the goal by Kevin Zorovich. So a tremendous save off a fast break by Daniel Kirkpatrick, and Kirkpatrick staying in the game.
Right, and, you know, Yealy's trying to fight for that ground ball, and again, an opportunity for Michigan where to pick up a nice loose ball that almost pops to Zorovich's stick, but then he's able to finish and put it in the back of the net.
And again, look at this. Tremendous dominance in the faceoff exo. They know that's a problem, but as this third quarter starts, it becomes even more of a magnified problem. 2 quick, fast breaks off the faceoff, and that's Raken Kohlitz. Comes in with a 74% efficiency number, and that's, you know, that's almost 8 out of 10 he takes on an average day, 7.5.
And his averages are only getting better in this game.
So Kevin Zorovich gives his team a 3-goal lead. Michigan gets 2 straight possessions.
Yeah, you know, they have to value these possessions and keep putting points on the board. You know, as we saw in the semifinal game against Arizona State, they scored 13 goals in that second half. So, you know, we know that Chapman can definitely put some points on the board.
Michigan coming out strong. Michigan coming out very strong. They, as you saw in that feature at halftime, a storied program that really wants to win it all this year. And you go through that undefeated season, the #1 seed, the #1 ranked team, and now you're 30 minutes from making that a reality. So they are focused with the possibilities. Chapman, a program really on the rise, doing a great job of stepping into this championship with tremendous talent.
2003, I believe, was the last time Chapman made it in, and you know, they've just been playing great all year. Basically been #2 right behind Michigan for the whole year. I believe some voters have been voting them #1. So they definitely have the respect around the league from other coaches.
You might be saying, hey, Leaf, where's Chapman? And they are in Orange County, California. Good controlled offensive set, much like they started the game off with. This is Peter Krauss getting it over to his teammate Mark Hammitt. No rush here with that 3-goal lead.
Good short stick defense by Michael Clayton.
The ball bounces off of Daniel Kirkpatrick. There's our goalie for the second half, Daniel Kirkpatrick. Normally they go to Jason Cole, they split goalies, but here's one of our storylines. They felt like he must have had a pretty good first half because he's back in. So they've got Jason Cole if they need him. Kirkpatrick really doing a good job in the first half, and we're getting a little bit of word that Coe is banged up, so maybe not at 100%, so that is part of the reason why Coe not taking the half that he normally takes.
It looks like Michigan, again, putting out that second line, maybe to give those first-line guys a rest, but again, these guys are producing in this tournament.
Second line for Michigan, Svet Tintchev. He already got a goal, the last one of that first half, along with Dave Rogers, and we've seen him be effective in this game.
You know, something to notice too is that, you know, Chris Smalls, number 16, and Mike Clayton have been down on this defensive end now for a couple of minutes. So, you know, Michigan really probably trying to wear some of these guys out so they're not as much of an offensive threat when the ball gets transitioned down. So hopefully, you know, Michigan might be trying to tire them out a bit.
Michigan really taking their time. Outside shots, all shots have been from the outside, except for the opening garbage goal. Tremendous hustle by Michigan, and here comes the first Chapman transition. They try to force it into the crease. Wow, aggressive play coming down the field by Chris Small, who tried to force it into the crease, and by not being successful, the ball immediately goes back to Michigan. You gotta like the moxie of the offense of Chapman. A lot of confidence in this group.
Yeah, Chapman's got a lot of confidence on transition, you know, and they have a lot of confidence in their middies bringing it down, whether or not it's Clayton or Smalls or Blake Wickham or, you know, whoever it is, they have the confidence to do it. So, and again, they fought hard for the ride. They get the ball back, so, you know, Chapman's doing all right.
Connor Martin slows things down, though, and he waits for Derek Mills to come in. They'll have that top midfield unit. Mike Clayton was playing defense for about 3 minutes before he came down here on the offensive side. And they're not calling it as a tip ball. They're saying just thrown out of bounds. And Michigan gets it. So how sloppy was that for a team that's really handling the ball well? They just throw it out of bounds and give it to Michigan. They will now have to play a little defense again. They've been playing a lot of defense here in this third quarter.
Looks like Eliashard actually just flashed his stick in front of Gennuso's face and caused a turnover, but then a turnover on the Michigan side as well.
A little rough in the handling on both ends of the field as we look at Graham Townsend, the 6'4" goalie for Michigan. Getting the ball inside the restraining line, right by the 30 there, that Chapman will have is not a guarantee that you're going to get the clear. Michigan has lived and died off this ride, and they've been so successful in making teams not get it up into their offensive box. Almost successful again here, but Chapman picks it up with a great hustle. Marcus Wooden dives in, keeps it in the right hand, and they're going to give him a goal and a penalty. Marcus Wooden, refusing to go to his left, just pulls it back with his right, and once he got in front of the goalie, he opened up a spot to his right.
Good, strong, athletic move to the cage, and Marcus Wooden just overpowers two Michigan defensemen and is able to cut in with a good burst of speed and just kind of forces his way in there. And, you know, a little bit of some diving action to the crease, but that's a great player by the WCLL Offensive Player of the Year.
Second goal of the day for Marcus Wooden. Back to the face-off X and see if they can get anything going. Chapman sending out number 12, Chaz Stagler. And they're going to give it to Chapman. They look for help from the far side. The referee waited. I think the players even know where it was going to go. But they're going to give it to Chapman, so that's a break for them off the face-off. They get not only a goal, but the ball back, down by 2 with possession.
Looks like they're putting that pole up there. That's going to hopefully maybe try to limit Kohlitz's fast break opportunities.
Chapman had 5 goals to 1 in their semifinal matchup. They really got heated up at about the 9-minute mark of that third quarter. And that's where we are now.
Actually talking to some Chapman parents on the sideline, they said they're about a second-half team, so we'll see if that holds true in this game.
Well, we talked about them scoring 13 of their 18 in the semifinal in the second half, so it's been proven so far. But Michigan, we saw also just be relentless to the last whistle against their formidable semifinal foe BYU. Lee Felsmo and John Galvin with you in this MCLA final for Division I, right here from Texas Stadium. Teams coming from around the country, 16 in Division I, 12 in Division II. And here comes Chapman on the move, open shot. Go low against the big guy, and Townsend read it beautifully. What a great read by Townsend. He met that ball. No trouble reading that shot.
Yeah, Marcus Wooden actually just kept his stick low and tried to really overpower Townsend by keeping it low. And Townsend already dropped down and smothered that ball.
Big shot from up top by Mike Clayton. We talked about his velocity and the ability for him to go right and left as you get a good look at goalie Graham Townsend. Averages 5.28 goals against. 71% save. And here is Farinelli. It's a great combination with Farinelli out there. And the great Mike Clayton, number 9. Inside, what a great feed. Tremendous look to Marcus Wooden. Wooden made an explosive move off the crease to meet that ball and turned around very quickly to shoot it.
And actually inside right now is Mark Hammitt playing inside against Marcus Wooden and just beats him inside. So, you know, Hammitt got caught ball watching a little bit, and Marcus Wooden actually, he hurt him for it. So, you know, and, you know, you got to watch Marcus Wooden and Connor Martin off ball. I mean, these guys are great movement off ball. They can definitely find those seams.
Third goal of the game for Wooden off the faceoff, and another save by Dan Kirkpatrick. 5'9", 180 pounds from Tustin, California.
And actually, Trevor Yealy tried to pick that ball up and almost a little hockey shot off the rebound, and I just went high.
He's really been tested off those faceoffs, and the one that came off sort of the garbage scrum is the only one that's found the net. So he's been really hot, even though he let that first ball go in the first 15 seconds of the second half. He's been pressured with intense success off the faceoff, and we know that Michael Wood is focusing on that because they talked about it at half to us. So they'd probably change something, but they need to keep searching for an answer.
You know, Michigan looking a little sloppy on offense right now, almost being a little bit too content with some of these offensive possessions. But, you know, you just can't keep turning the ball over and give the ball back to Chapman. But, you know, Chapman's working hard, and they're a good offensive team. So,
well, we talked about the run as you look at the sideline and Coach Michael Wood. When you take a look at what Michigan did in the second half, well, it was Yealy getting 3 straight goals. But after that, only 3 goals scored. Actually, that was the first half. Second half, they only had 3 goals total. Michigan really calmed down in that semifinal game. They had 3 goals by 3 different players, and that was it in the second half. They had an 8-4 lead coming out of the halftime. They just sort of maintained that 4-goal margin without scoring very much. Their defense carried the day. So Chapman trying to make them score more goals by applying great pressure offensively. Chapman's Derek Mills, left-handed shot. And Mills from Seattle, Washington, he finds rope. And this game is tied at 7. A 3-goal run by Chapman.
Good hard righty dodge, sees the double, actually runs through it, and then fires a lefty shot actually off the shoulder of Towson. You can actually see Towson tried to lift his arm up and try to just catch a piece of it. But, you know, on the run and moving away from the goal, he stuck it near side.
John Paul showing a little bit of concern. And Chapman off the faceoff. They've had some success the last 2 faceoffs. They're really putting a lot of pressure up top, far side. Chaz, oh my gosh. Marcus Wooden had an opportunity, and I think he was looking for where he was going to put the shot. Nobody was on him. And John, that was going to be potentially the easiest goal of the night for him.
Right, Marcus Wooden just cutting backside, kind of waiting to see what was going to happen to that ball, and almost kind of thought about where he was shooting before he got it.
So now Michigan slowing things down, a little bit out of sync with just the 1 goal off that hustle garbage pickup off the opening faceoff. That's all they've scored. Tintchev scored the final minute of that first half, but only 2 goals in the last 2 quarters. Chapman, they're trying to see if Chapman gets a little bit of antsy. Come inside, hard shot, and it's brushed aside. Big, powerful shot by Mark Hammitt.
It's a good move, almost like his first goal in the first quarter. Just a hard right dodge and then split back to his left, and he's a good shooter on the run.
Michigan again with the patience in their offense. Zorovich, the last guy to score. Tintchev in the second quarter after they got 5 goals in the first. Offense has gone a little bit quiet. There's a big shot and a goal. Michigan with a nice overhand shot. It's funny how those great fundamentals make shots look easy, don't they? Right. Peter Vasher comes in and really comes over the top with a bounce shot. Hard for the goalie to read.
Right, the left, the kind of the little hitch to the back to his right, and a straight overhand. Got Kirkpatrick to drop down and put the bounce shot right out in front of his feet, and was able to put that ball right over the top of his stick and it over his shoulder for a great shot and a great goal.
So that gives his team a 1-goal lead. It's Vasher's 2nd goal of the day, and it could come at a better time for John Paul, the coach of Michigan. The face-off machine, Kohlitz pulls it behind him and then gets the clear from his teammates, this being Bobby Morales. So Michigan continues to control the face-offs, but the 3-goal run by Chapman put them right back in this game. They've tied it at 7. They tied it at 1, tied it at 2, and then Michigan was ahead until they tied it at 7 again. Chapman only had 1 lead in this game so far. It's the first goal of the game by Marcus Wooden, 1-0. From then on was Michigan taking over the game, but not by a big margin. Farinelli trying to go far side to his long stick defender. And they'll bring it up. Marcus Wooden gets it inside. They try to find Connor Martin, who can't handle it cleanly, and Michigan just putting 2 and 3 sticks on the offensive player. They do that every time they play somebody. When you make a feed, you got to know you're going to have some maize color around you very quickly.
You know, again, Michigan really trying to apply pressure, but, you know, it seems like Chapman's trying to, they can beat that pressure and just not just barely handling that to really try to get a goal. So seeing 2 opportunities kind of just go awry.
No call on that. The shot with no angle, and he finds rope. Great shot with little or no angle by Zorovich. And Zorovich scores 2 of the last 3 goals. He's got 2 in this quarter.
And Zorovich just making a great move from behind on Salcido. Just kept moving his feet, stepped away from him. Actually, that's what really created the space, was actually the step away from his defenseman. Defenseman couldn't get his feet back moving, and Zorovich was able to put a nice shot, a low bounce shot kind of between Kilpatrick's legs. And it seems like those lower shots are actually hurting, or the spots to keep shooting from. Those high shots were was what Kirkpatrick was definitely gobbling up kind of that first half.
Michigan again with control of the faceoff, and this is starting to wear down Chapman. So 2 straight goals to answer the 3-goal run for Chapman in red. And back to a 2-goal cushion for the maize-colored Michigan Wolverines. And what a relief for a team to stop a run with 2 dominant faceoff controls, score 2 goals, and get the ball back.
Right, and it's kind of a demoralizing, you know, you just let up a goal. You want to get that ball back on the offensive end. But, you know, again, having Brecken Kohlitz on this team is a huge factor in possession time.
Michigan looking to get a good shot to go behind the goal. I think possibly Riley Kearns wasn't sure whether that was going to be a shot or not. He wasn't quite ready for that ripping feed, and it goes behind him and out of bounds.
Again, a 10-man ride put on by Michigan, so a lot of pressure, and you know, they're going to have to try to find someone that's open.
That's sort of a giveaway. They just send it upfield and give the ball back to Michigan, so they had no answer. As Michigan applies the 10-man ride and just baffles Chapman. So not only do they dominate on the faceoffs, but they are being totally effective on their ride.
You know, something about that 10-man ride, that initial pressure by the attackman is really what's key. You know, the defenseman, the long poles, and the goalies really can't find the open man or even the open area to find. So, you know, that initial pressure is big for the 10-man ride and the Michigan.
Well, I'll tell you this, I haven't seen any, and I've watched a lot of Division I games this year. I've not seen anybody with the ride as effective as Michigan. They just obviously spend a lot of time on it, and it's very, very effective in their game plan and their success.
Right, you know, talking to the Michigan coaching staff, and they say they work in that ride every day, whether or not it's a 6-on-6 drill. They actually ride the drills all the way out. They constantly work on it, so it's definitely a factor in their practices and their work ethic. And so, you know, again, John Paul said it himself, it's kind of a live and die by their riding.
Well, so far this year, nobody's really killed them on it, and that's allowing them to be totally successful as they move into this late stages of the final game. This game was tied at 7 after 3 goals by Chapman, and then Vasher and Zorovich gave Michigan a 2-goal lead. They each got their 2nd goal of the day. And this young finisher, Trevor Yealy, has been deadly on the finishing end of shots all year long. BYU had no answer for him in the semifinal. He scored 4 straight goals to open it up in the 2nd quarter. Seems like they're doing some different things with Yealy, working him behind the net.
1 minute remaining in the 3rd quarter. 1 minute.
They try to find the back door. 1 minute remaining, you might have heard the PA announcer say, and it'll be Chapman's ball. If they can get it in their offensive zone, they'll have a chance to make it a 1-goal game. That's a big if.
You know, it's kind of a tough pass to make. You know, Zorovich is driving up that one side and, you know, trying to find Tintchev, but, you know, trying to really value this last possession with 55 seconds left was key for Michigan. But now, you know, that ride and hopefully getting that ball back.
Fox College Sports bringing you the championship of the MCLA right here from Texas Stadium. Lee Felsmo, John Galvin, the coach of the University of Colorado. We're in a close contest, the Division I final. And Michigan in the maize color against the Chapman Panthers in the red. A 2-goal game, 9-7. Separation really came late in the 1st quarter with a 3-goal run. It's been about the same since. Face-off domination, incredible riding, the formula for success. Down to 17 seconds, a shot here, and a whistle blew before I heard a whistle, didn't you? I thought I heard a whistle. They give him the goal. So I guess not.
Well, that's a tough goal. I mean, Mark Hammitt again making a great split dodge. Kind of comes back to his right. Well, not really a split, but more of a step to the left and coming back to his right. And then, you know, really just finding that low corner. And we've seen Hammitt do this time and time again, where a righty dodge into those low, far and away corners, and it's a tough, tough spot for Kirkpatrick to make a save.
He gets his second goal of the game. The last 3 goals, Vasher, Zorovich, and Hammitt, all their second goal of the game. And that 3-goal run give them a 3-goal lead again after tying it at 7. And it's all about these faceoffs. That shot wide by Kohlitz. But Kohlitz has been unbelievable. Good look at him there in the faceoff X, and that continues to give Michigan the possessions they need. And if the Panthers do get the ball, the ride has been so effective, it's diminished their effectiveness on the offensive end. That'll end the third quarter. So it started 6-4, ends up 10-7. Michigan picks up 1 goal. They have a 3-goal lead as we go into the final stanza of the 2008 season. We'll be back with it in just a moment. The MCLA championship score by quarters. As we look at John Paul, the coach of Michigan, you can see the quarters pretty even in 2 and 3, but the first quarter 5-2. That 3-goal separation is still the separation of the game. So they've played them tough in the second and third quarter, but they let the game get away in the last 5 minutes of the first quarter. Lee Felsbo, John Galvin with you as we see the face-off for quarter number 4. We talked about Chapman, John, being a second-half team. They're going to have to be.
Right, and they still have, you know, they've still been able to put the pressure on Michigan to tie the game kind of middle of that third quarter. And, you know, coming into the fourth, this is it. So, you know, Chapman's going to have to pick it up and put some goals on the board.
Fast break opportunity. Morales hits the pipe. Great transition on a ground ball by Michigan. And off the pipe, it's a shot, so the closest to it would be Michigan. Unsettled situation, great hustle, ends up in this.
And Morales just, actually, Kirkpatrick makes a great save, got just a piece on it, and was able to deflect it, hit the pipe anyway, but then the ball moves out and Michigan gets possession again.
No question. Nice save by Kirkpatrick. Daniel forced to go the whole way. They've been switching halves the whole season. Jason Coe, who's banged up, hurt for this game. Daniel Kirkpatrick forced to go the whole way, and he's been pretty good. Darn good. A lot of pressure off faceoffs. He stood up strong. Here he is again looking at Michigan taking a shot by Peter Vasher.
You know, Kirkpatrick's not he's not hitching down. He's staying high with those shooters. So, you know, he's playing a very solid game.
There's Jason Coe, the would-be second-half goalie in this game as they switch time, but the injury has prevented him from playing in this championship. Shot again from the outside by Peter Vasher. We saw a right-handed shot. That was a left-handed shot. All-conference midfielder from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Went to Pioneer High School. And here they go, feeding inside. Another tough shot with the right hand and easily picked up by Daniel Kirkpatrick. He goes for the fast break, dishing it up, moving into the zone of offense for Chapman. What a great clear, as Chapman just brings it up quickly with John Kay leading the charge with a long stick. Almost lose it. Marcus Wooden has it fall out of the stick, and now he uses his speed to get inside the defense of Michigan. Up top, Clayton can't handle it cleanly. And a little bit of a scrum here. This is what Michigan loves. You don't want to stay in range of those long poles because they are relentless.
And those big, strong, long poles, they definitely have that long reach and are able to knock that ball out of the stick of looks like Clayton or someone fighting for that ground ball.
If you don't get separation on this group, the group you're looking at right there, you're going to lose the battle. And you saw a good example of it right there. A little bit of sloppy ball handling for Chapman because they put the pressure on you. They make it tough to handle in those tight areas. And then when the ball hits the turf, man, is it tough to get the ball upfield on the Michigan group. Game still 10-7. Nobody scored in this fourth quarter. We have chewed up about 2 minutes of it. Plenty of time left for Chapman. Haven't heard from Mike Clayton for a while. He scored his last goal with 4 minutes left to go in the second quarter.
That was a great lift on Zorovich by Nathan Barris.
And there's a nice shot from the outside. And the finishing push just knocks him down again. But Michigan gets a great shot. Looked like Svet Tintchev on the far side.
I mean, you know, Chapman goes to double, they push out. Chapman's got to rotate, and then Tintchev just firing the inside part. And it almost looked like Kirkpatrick almost caught a piece of that. The ball just came off at a weird angle.
Tintchev gets his second goal of the game. So the last 4 goals scored by Michigan have been by different players, each getting their second goal of the game. Off the face-off again, and finally he finds rope. Kohlitz just controlling the game, and if that isn't an exclamation mark, I don't know what is.
Well, you know, still a lot of time, but I think Kohlitz, you know, this is a great face-off. This is what he took 2 shots earlier, but you know, here it is. I mean, perfectly placed top corner, and Kohlitz just snapped it off.
So it took him less than 8 seconds to get that next goal after Sven Tintchev scored. And now, after being scoreless for 2 minutes, they've scored 2 goals in 2.5 minutes.
You know, and again, Chapman's an explosive offense. They definitely have you know, a lot of firepower. And
5 straight goals. This is the last one off the faceoff. Kohlitz dominating there, and here he is.
And just a great shot. I mean, the good pinch and pop face-off move, kind of a Alex Smith-esque of Delaware from last season, is to be able to pinch and pop and run those transition, those fast break opportunities for Michigan.
The ingredients of a great team. They've got it all at Michigan. Face-off dominance, smothering defense, and a great team offense. They've got individual stars, yes, but as John Paul said, they feel like they can get goals from a lot of different people, and they have done that tonight. The last 5 goals, all scored by different players. So we'll go back to an important face-off. 12-7 the score, all set a 5-goal lead. It's 5 straight goals. It was 7-7, folks, if you missed some in that third quarter. And this has been a 5-goal run for the Michigan Wolverines.
Actually, Mike Clayton was on that last faceoff against Kohlitz just to maybe try to box him out and fight for that 50-50 ball.
And it worked. Ball comes down for Chapman, and Derek Mills has it behind. Derek Mills, a natural lefty from Seattle.
This is a pretty good matchup on Kohlitz, but you know, Michigan defense is sliding early and gets caught with a 2-slide.
Yeah, great feed inside to Nick Gennuso, and Gennuso gets his second goal. So that's a nice answer off a timeout to come out with a different look on the faceoff and a quick goal on the offense.
Right, as you can see, you know, Mills makes that hard lefty move. Michigan slides early, but you know, the Michigan defense can't pick up that 2-slide. And Gennuso makes a nice little flash cut and you know, finds the goal inside.
Second goal of the night for Gennuso. Couldn't come at a better time. Only 3 minutes gone in this last quarter, and then we've scored 3 goals. Pretty fast-paced action for a team that's known for defense, the Michigan Wolverines. And here they go with a fast clear. They've got some numbers. Chapman drops back quickly. They kick the ball over to their defensive star, and that's Morales. Morales hanging around out there, reluctantly going off now.
Looks like getting another good run for Svet Tintchev's line and the second line for Michigan. You know, Barris has a great lift. I mean, he's all over Zorovich's bottom hand, and we saw that kind of prior to one of Michigan's last goals. But a very aggressive on-ball defender and just some great fundamentals.
Chapman now defensively. John's talking about their aggressive checks. They need to get the ball back, so they're not going to be content sitting too long on this patient offense for Michigan. Yes, there's plenty of time left, but Michigan would like to take minutes off in these possessions and really use the clock, and Chapman cannot allow them to do that.
Right, you know, and if Michigan doesn't start maybe going to the goal, they do.
Unbelievable. Great shot. It's Dave Rogers who turns and rips it left-handed. Such a quick move, really kind of stunned Daniel Kirkpatrick.
Right, it's a great off-ball cut by Dave Rogers. And it looks like Tintchev's just able to find him. And, you know, maybe a little bit of ball watching by the Chapman defense. But also, you know, he catches that on kind of such an off angle that he was able to really torque his body and take a good shot. And, you know, Kirkpatrick really couldn't step out towards it. But again, a lot of these last shots are going low. And maybe they found something on Kirkpatrick.
Still only 1 goal per minute pace. This game is pretty much from the 5-minute mark of the last quarter in. We've been on a 1 goal per minute pace. And unfortunately for Chapman, all those goals but 1 have been by Michigan. 6 of the 7. Mike Clayton has been the star, number 9, all throughout the year. He'll have to pull out some Superman heroics now. Derek Mills out there, number 1 with him on this line. They work ball behind Farinelli. They've got big-time shooters on the field right now. Mills, the lefty, dishes it back to Farinelli. You know, Farinelli's right there off that feed.
Tried a little Indian pickup, I guess. Or...
Michigan picks up the loose ball, and here they go. Riley Kearns rips it far side, and what a great save by Daniel Kirkpatrick. Wow, that's an exceptional feed, and pipe to pipe for Kirkpatrick to make the save.
Yeah, that was a long feed, and you know Kirkpatrick had to move all the way across the top of the crease and made a great save, nice and low.
Kirkpatrick steering his people. Look at that, ripped it across the field. Farinelli comes in late, but tremendous read by Daniel Kirkpatrick to stop that one.
It was a great body save too. He stepped out towards the shooter and just caught a piece of it with his body.
Chapman forced now to get the ball up against this incredible ride, the best ride in the MCLA, maybe the best in the country. Look at the intensity. Timeout called. Let's see. We're going to have a penalty. Let's get the penalty.
Wow, Martuzovic is getting called for a slash here. And that seemed like it was a nice, hard, aggressive play. He got the piece of that backhand, but Chapman's going to go man up.
So penalty on Michigan gives Chapman an opportunity to bring this one back to within 4, but right now they are down by 5, 13-8. Chapman averages 16 goals a game during the during this whole season. So
in this tournament, they're about 29% on man up. So
hard shot out top. Chapman getting one by Blake Whitcomb. Chapman comes in with a nice low shot. Good job by Connor Martin. Trying to get it low on that tall goalie. The goalie stands 6'4". When you really find the money part down low, he'll go far corner. Watch Connor Martin get it done.
Right, you know, Marcus Wooden just draws him and gets, you know, Connor Martin's got some extra time to really take a look at the cage, finds that 5-hole and just sneaks it right by him, and Towson just couldn't get low enough.
Second goal out of the last 3. They'll need more, though, because still being outscored by Michigan in this quarter, and they cannot find an answer for the tremendous faceoff man, Brecken Kohlitz. But they get it in the middle of the field. Here comes Chapman. Marcus Wooden tracking it down, using his speed inside, extends his hands, but gets it checked.
Great move by Marcus Wooden up top, and a good trail check, and he's by James Payer, and you know, he was able to kind of force the shot to go wide.
This is a huge goal coming up. If they can get it within 3, it would be amazing. Great shot by number 99, Connor Martin.
Great way to use the back of the net, too. Connor Martin was able to get his hands free by dodging kind of right by that apex of the goal, making the defenseman jump over, and then able to get a great shot on goal, but a save by Towson.
When you look at the history of these two teams, watch this ride. Wooden can't pick it up. That would have been trouble. Marcus Wooden could not cleanly pick it out of the air. And it's a failure to advance against Michigan, but they dodged one there. Marcus Wooden was all by himself, about 10 yards out with no goalie in the net.
And Connor Martin just coming around. Actually, Towson got a nice piece of that. And it's a way to step out of the shooter. I mean, again, his high arc may be causing these shooters to cause a little bit of fits.
Farinelli shooting in a great spot if it was a right-handed goalie, but the lefty just picks it up easily, gets it to his teammates, and here they go with the clear. trying to clear it and cannot successfully transfer the ball over to Riley Kearns. When you look at these two teams, John Galvin, Chapman, there's John Paul, the coach of Michigan. All year, John Paul's team has held teams to under 10. All year. All year, Chapman has scored more than 10.
You know, and again, it's the kind of that defensive battle that, you know, that was probably going to ensue here, and see, you know, who's going to kind of a war of attrition, I guess, with Chapman really pressuring on that offense and seeing if Michigan defense can really stand up. But, you know, the Michigan coaching staff really believes in this team, and I think they, you know, right now they're holding a very, very potent offensive team to just 9. But again, there's 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That's a lot of time, as we've seen, for this Chapman team.
Chapman could get this goal. They could score 10. They could score 11. They could score 12 and still lose the game. So they're going to have to score at least 14 to win. And that's assuming their defense can hold Michigan out of the net. Tough order. Last 7 minutes. Chapman's Derek Mills. He's a lefty over here on the right-hander side.
Looks like Michigan dropped back into that zone just a bit.
Oh. Connor Martin up top. Oh. Chapman has not had a chance in that exact spot to get the shot they wanted. Marcus Wooden couldn't handle it cleanly. Blake Whitcomb couldn't handle it cleanly. And they lose possession here to the ever-aggressive defense of Michigan.
Great nifty little play by Townsend. A little quick stick. Was able to get the ball and kind of make that horizontal pass and then push it upfield.
Connor Martin was putting big heat on him. So he just quick sticks the ball to the wing. Opportunity gone away for Chapman, at least for the moment. They had a couple looks up top, didn't handle it cleanly, and there's a shot right into the face of Daniel Kirkpatrick. Beautiful save. Can they clear it in transition?
Trevor Yealy on a hard ride.
Working the ball up is Derek Mills. Mills working inside the riding defense, and in the middle of the field, here comes Chapman. Alex Lyon. He brings it up to Connor Martin. Lyon will come off the field. They'll put that #1 unit in. Here's the biggest shooter they've got, and he finds rope. Mike Clayton nails that goal. We haven't heard from Clayton since the 4-minute mark of the second quarter, and he comes up big when they need him.
Well, this guy's definitely got some range, and that's about 13 yards. I mean, that's a perfectly placed shot again in that low corner. Townsend can't go down, and look at the torque that Clayton gets on that shot. He put almost everything he probably had into that, and that was just another great goal by Mike Clayton.
Clayton put out a pretty good night's work. 2 goals and 1 assist unofficially for me, looking at the stat sheet. 5 minutes left, 3-goal game, and that is within reach for either team. Face-off dominance continues for Brecken Kohlitz.
Good little swim move.
Michigan brings it down. There'll be a no rush with a 3-goal lead. Clack and Michigan working against Chapman.
You know, beware of you know, if Michigan starts holding the ball, not really going to the goal, they could get an early stall call here. Just to see if they're going to try to eat some clock up, but knowing Coach Paul, there's a good possibility they're not. They're just going to keep pushing, and I think that's what you have to do against this Chapman team.
3 of the last 4 goals scored by Chapman. Gennuso, Martin, Clayton. Sandwiched in there was a Dave Rogers goal, and that's where we are, 13-10. Lee Felsmo and John Galvin with you. The MCLA championships on Fox College Sports.
Yeah, Nate Barris playing some great defense on Zorovich. Some good lifts, good footwork too. So good on-ball matchup right there.
Michigan doing a great job of controlling the ball on their end. Zorovich. Crowd saying boring. Dave Rogers taking his spin with the ball.
I would start getting Michigan to maybe start keeping this into the box. Looks like they're starting to waste some time and maybe get a stall call here.
And they tried to really put pressure on him, and it was effective as the long pass was picked off by Chapman. Now can they clear? No is the answer.
Yeah, the pressure, the pressure with those attackmen running up into the play and trying to get the ball from those long poles is kind of a, what you want to do on a ride, but the Michigan defensemen they're big, they're strong, they're fast, they're athletic, so it's tough to get guys like Marcus Wooden open and let him create from that that 50 to 40 yard line.
Getting down to the part of the game, 3-goal lead for Michigan that Chapman's going to have to extend, gamble a little bit. Let's see what they do here as Peter Krauss tries to get the ball across. Nifty little move. Gets inside, he'll have a left-handed shot, check from behind. Great diving check with the follow-up shot is checked also. Same player, great move by Chapman to get a defensive check by Stegler.
It's a great trail check, and this is just extra hard work by Stegler, and that's a great check.
Big shot by Connor Martin. Couldn't get the shot he wanted. Take a look at this check. Stegler makes it, extending himself, make the check. Now watch the pickup, and he makes another check. He saves 2 shots against his goalie. And if they come back into this game, that might be the play that made it possible.
Looks like Michigan possibly went into their zone again with the 2 short sticks on the pipe. Looks like a diamond zone. So again, trying to change up Chapman's, trying to make them shoot from the outside. But again, they got some great shooters with Clayton and Farinelli, so I'd be very weary of letting those guys shoot from about 12 yards in.
Clayton's such a strong midfielder at 5'11", 195. Chapman inbounds again. Connor Martin bringing the ball around. We're in the NASCAR-like 99. Farinelli's got a tremendous shot, number 3 up top. This is the great one, Mike Clayton. Inside, what a pickup by Marcus Wooden.
That's just a great put. Marcus Wooden, what great hands inside. Just able, Clayton's able to find them for the 2nd time in the game. And, Mike Clayton making a great strong move. Almost the same type of play that happened in that first quarter, and Marcus Wooden just picking up the ball inside. And that's really nothing Townsend can do about that. But, a great off-ball cut by Marcus Wooden.
Marcus Wooden's got a pretty good night going. 4 goals on the day. Back to the critical face-off X. And number 17 has owned it.
Another guy for Chapman's taking the face-off. Looked like a little push there.
But they gave it to him. Wow. Horse collared around the neck, going out of bounds, and no call made.
Looks like the ball fell out before the hold was actually placed. But if that ball stayed in, again, that would have been a 30-second penalty, and looking for Chapman to go up by 1 or get in with 1.
3-goal run for the last 5 for Chapman. They're back to within 2. First team to score more than 10 against Michigan all year. Farinelli on that right-handed shooter side. Left-handed shot, perfect spot, and a good location on the shot, but a great save by Graham Townsend. Townsend really going off to his off hip to pick up that one.
Looks like Michigan's got some numbers here. They're going to pull it out and be smart. That's 2 minutes, so Michigan's got to keep it in the box here. So be ready for if a double gets close, they might call a timeout.
Goalie is out of the net. Kirkpatrick doing a double on the back line. He is chasing. He needs help. Nobody in the nets. He's trying to make a check. Goalie Daniel Kirkpatrick is out of the net, doubling. You can see nobody inside the 6x6. And when you make that pass, now he is ineffective. He's got to go back and sort of wait for his opportunity. Here it is.
Right. And if a Michigan player gets in trouble somewhere in this deep corner, look for Coach Paul to call a little timeout to maybe kill some more. But looks like Michigan's pretty effective against these doubles.
It's basically a game of keep away right now. Now they go to a triple team in front, easy hammering goal that might seal their victory. They had to double. Peter Vasher came into the middle. Mom's calling home to tell sis it looks good.
Well, it's just
watch the triple team this time.
And 3 guys come out, and they're just going to find someone inside. They're maybe trying to put that nail in the coffin, and that could be it.
Peter Vasher gets that one. 1:10 left in this one, and Vasher may have made it all but impossible.
Your guys, everybody, ask your guys if they get the ball. Got to go out after him.
Get a shot, shoot it.
Started with the face-off. Let's go. Got to go fast, all right? Fast. Hey, fellas, bring it all in here.
Let's go, bring it up.
Let's go, boys.
Let's go, Chapman.
Fellas. Hey, we came this far. Let's finish it off, right? We paid for 60. We're going to finish with 60, all right? Hey, Chapman on 3. 1, 2, 3. Chapman!
Here we go with the face-off. A minute left. Again, Kohlitz, who has dominated the game with possession. He has just turned away every chance for Chapman to make a run with his dominance of the face-off X as we wind down in this MCLA championship for Division I.
That was a tough hit from behind and a little unnecessary, but it was, you know, Salcido's trying to go for it. He's trying to get the ball and be aggressive, so.
So here we are in the closing moments, 52 seconds. How many times in this game you've seen great scoring depth on this team, John? Really a great offensive versatility.
Right, you know,
the defense we knew was going to be great, and you just had to hope that if you were a Michigan fan, that Kohlitz would go ahead and do his thing, and he really made it impossible for Chapman to make any consistent runs.
You know, a face-off guy like Brecken Kohlitz is so important, especially when the late stages of the game is here, and really creating more and more possessions for Michigan. And Michigan had a great mix of scoring tonight.
A lot of guys involved. Time winding down, 30 seconds and under.
And it looked like Coach Paul got the water bath on the sideline.
Well, they starting the chant, undefeated, #1 seed. Chapman's got nothing to hang their head about. 14-11. They got him over 10 goals for the first time of anybody all year.
This looks like this is it.
Well, Chapman's not going to really contest it. They know mathematically it's over. And our hats are off to John Paul and the #1 seed Michigan Wolverines. They go undefeated on this season, and they'll take home the MCLA crown. Our exclusive coverage on Fox College Sports. We'll be back with our closing comments and halftime or post-game interview from Texas Stadium in just a moment. We're back at Texas Stadium, Michigan, with a dramatic 14-11 win. It was Chapman who scored the first goal, and then Michigan tied it on a Yealy goal and got that lead they never relinquished in the first quarter. They did it with great defense, an offense that shared the ball, and by dominating faceoffs 21 out of 29, our collegelacks.us player of the game is Brecken Kohlitz, #17. Can you imagine winning 21 of 29? Every time Chapman would try to come back, it was Kohlitz who just stopped the comeback cold. Our congratulations to him and to John Paul and the Michigan Wolverines. We'll be back with final comments from Texas Stadium in just a moment. Back at Texas Stadium, there is the happy Michigan Wolverine team. 14-11, they go undefeated. And now all the ceremonial chanting after a long season of work. John Paul in the middle of it, the coach and our collegelacks.us player of the game. It's Brecken Kohlitz, #17, 21 of 29 faceoffs to really stop any comeback effort. And Chapman had a few. They had 2 3-goal runs, the last one starting at the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Our pleasure to talk to our collegelacks.us player of the game, Brecken Kohlitz. Dominated faceoffs, 21 out of 29. Brecken, all phases of the game seem to work for your team tonight.
You know, it's a great thing. I mean, coming into it, I feel like we view ourselves more as a family than a team. We've gone through so much as a team. Senior leadership is great. All the freshmen, I mean, all of us hang out on the weekends. We're like one big family, and that's what we do. You know, that's how we get it done. Hang out together, work together. Any one of us would give our lives for the other one. That's what we're all about. That's what gets it done.
Talk about this specific game. It looked like Chapman threw a couple different wrinkles at you. They tried to play you a different ways. The defensive player maybe play you instead of the ball. Does that ever affect you? How do you approach that?
I mean, it's hard. I got to recognize where the long pulls are, especially in this game. I mean, they long pulled me a few times with a couple different guys. I got stripped a couple times. I just got to be aware where the wings line up and communicate well and just try to get that ball out and get it to the D if I need to.
Well, you had a dominant night, and your team certainly looked like the championship team it is. Congratulations to our collegelax.us player of the game, Brecken Kohlitz.
Thank you very much.
Go back and join your team, buddy.
Thank you.
So a tremendous day, John, as you look at the interview given by the great one, Mike Clayton from Chapman. Chapman, I think, brought it all, but Michigan just too strong.
Yeah, I just think that Michigan's defense has been playing well all season, and Graham Townsend came up big when he needed to. Just really couldn't really get anything going. That face-off dominance is just something where the possession times, every time Chapman would come back, they just couldn't get that possession to get one more to tie it or go ahead. And Brecken Kohlitz definitely deserves it.
So John Paul congratulating each and every player. And we will congratulate him and his program. For John Galvin, I'm Lee Felsmo. Thank you for watching our Fox College exclusive coverage of the MCLA championships. Once again, our final score: the undefeated Michigan Wolverines 14 and the Chapman Panthers 11. Goodbye, everybody.